Hello and welcome to Healing with Energy Step 3 Supplemental. My name is Richard Clark, and on this video I'll be demonstrating some more techniques using oil, following on from Healing with Energy Step 3. It's basically about more stuff that I've found out through practice, through using it on myself and on others. Before I go any further, I'd like to say that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a therapist, I'm none of that. I'm exactly how it appears, basically a man sitting in his front room talking to a camera, telling you about the healing methods that I've worked and developed on over the last 20 years. I don't work for any corporation, I don't work for any company, I don't work for profit. I'm not professional, I don't do it for a living. This is just something I'm very interested in. I am an interested third party in all this. I've never had any problems with the oils, but I will say if you use them entirely at your own risk. And if you have any problems, if you put these materials on your skin, or put the cotton wool on your skin, and you have any problems, please stop straight away and take them off. Okay. Right, having said that, if you're still here, what I've found is, in Healing with Energy Step 3, it's all about oils and putting cotton wool, using oil on cotton wool, taping the cotton wool to the body. Now, on Healing with Energy Step 3, I showed using flaxseed oil with a little bit of aspirin put into it as an accelerant, and that's fine, that stays, that's not being replaced. But this oil, flaxseed oil, can be quite expensive. What I found is that you can use an alternative, a cheaper olive oil, doing exactly the same. You put the small amount of aspirin in with the oil to help the oil push its way through the body, or the power of the oil, the energy of the oil, push its way through the body. I've bought a small nail file, and what I do now is I just rub the aspirin tablet over the oil, put 2 drops on a plate and a small amount of aspirin, use a nail file just to file it off, and then you can just mix it up a little bit with a blade or a spoon or something, and you can use that. So it's okay to use olive oil as an alternative to flax oil. These are what I think of, these two are what I think of as power oils. They don't do much else except power their way through the system. We need something initially to open up all the channels that are blocked, congested, that are useless to the body because they're so congested. So these oils, which I think of as power oils, are very important with the aspirin. You don't need the aspirin with any of the others, or at least I don't use the aspirin with any of the others, but other people working in years to come might find out different, might find out they want to use it differently, or have found a better way of using it. I'm starting to get into all the different oils that you can use. If you start looking at the aromatherapy oils, they just go on and on and on. So just this step alone, working with oils, using them in this way, harnessing the weak nuclear effect, which is the energy radiating. It's the radiation of energy that we're using here, and that is very important. It's very important to understand. I think it's very important to understand, because as you understand each step, as we get further on, when we start combining the steps, it will be easier to understand what's going on. It's not that difficult, but it's a lot easier if you understand the basics, and the oils are very much a basic material. Okay, what else? Well, I got some orange oil and I use that, and it's very good for the immune system. It's an immune system stimulant. Now, what isn't very good is the fact that it's tremendously strong. It's one of these oils that is a base oil that you mix with other oils. It's tremendously strong, and if it gets onto your skin, it will burn. And that's what I managed to do. It don't burn as in fire, but it can get painful. So what happened was, I did my usual practice of putting 2 drops in a square of cotton wool. If you've watched the first video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I put 2 drops of the orange oil using the dropper into the cotton wool. Now, it's soaked through the cotton wool, so enough of it could get to my skin. There's 2 problems with this. One is it will burn the skin, and that is a problem because it really hurt. I had to take it off. I was really annoyed and had to wash the skin. It settled down straight away. It didn't leave a mark or anything, but what I'm saying is be careful. So what I'm doing now is I take a second pad. Now, these cotton wool pads are just for cleaning. I think women use them to clean makeup and stuff like that. So there's a large cotton wool pad that I cut into squares, just so I get more use. I get more cotton squares to the cotton pad. But what I'm now doing is I put the small pad over the big pad. Probably can't see that. The small pad goes on the big pad, and then it's taped to the arm, always in the middle of the forearm, between the wrist and the elbow, about the middle. You could go nearer the wrist or nearer the elbow. If you're putting on loads and loads of cotton wool, then you would have to do that. Okay, so to protect your skin, use a second cotton pad between the small pad and your skin. Especially so if you've got skin problems, eczema or psoriasis or something like this. Right, that takes me on to my next thing I'd like to say, and that is I'm starting to now use 1 pad for more than one oil. With me, when I start to first develop a method and study it and see how it works, I use individual elements, the individual oils. If I'm using oils, I'll just use 1 oil. So I'll put 4 pads on the forearm, each with their own oil, and I'll just study the effect of each oil. But what I'm starting to do now is I'm getting 1 pad and putting 3, 4, 5 different types of oil on there. So you can just get your dropper, if you're using a dropper, and just drop 2 drops of each different oil onto the same pad and then put it on your arm. Now, because the small pad will have so much oil on it, you can make it bigger if you want, but because the small pad will have so much oil on it, then it becomes essential to use a bigger pad to protect your skin. I think the only oil I've come up against that will burn the skin, has burned the skin, is orange, and that's a base oil for massage. So just keep an eye out for that. You can use the cotton wool for more than one oil. Combining them in the cotton wool doesn't change it, doesn't affect it, doesn't hurt it. Another oil that I was given, it's always the best way to get oils, was almond oil. Almond oil. That's almond oil from the nut, if you can see that. And this is a very good oil, lovely oil. Very nice oil to use, and I've used it in combination with other oils, and I'll come back to that. Jojoba oil, I say jojoba, that's actually, to look at, is jojoba, but I've used jojoba oil or jojoba oil as well, and that is another very, very good oil. It's very similar to the argan oil, the Moroccan oil, and this has become a mainstay, the argan oil. It is very, very good. If you're in the UK and you want it off Amazon, I can recommend Zendo. It's my friend Gavin. He sells it on Amazon. I don't get any paybacks for this. All I can say is it's a good quality oil, and that's the closest I want to get to endorsing anyone, because I don't do this for product selling. Okay, but argan oil is very good. It's a very subtle. The nearest I can get to it is saying it's an emotional filter. An emotional filter. You use the argan oil exactly the same way. A couple of drops on cotton wool. On the forearms. You can put also, I sometimes put oil, the cotton wool with oil on the sides of the legs, between the ankles and the knees. That's a supplementary place. And also the base of the throat, the nape of the neck, they're always good places to use. But it's always the forearms, in between the forearms, because this is like the junction between so many different things, the immune system, the bone marrow, all kinds of energies, they all flow in and out of the bone marrow in the forearms. So it's such a good place to use. But also use the base of the throat. This is a good one to get deep into the body. Base of the throat, base of the neck, nape of the neck. They're very important in the next method, Healing with Energy Step 4, which again uses oils and uses metals. And that's very interesting. If I was going to build a pyramid and put the most important metal at the top, it would be lead. It would be lead. Lead is just phenomenal for what I use it for. I think I've identified gold for fungal infections and silver for bacteria. Also copper for the nerves. Actual using the metal. So if you're watching this and you're getting ready for the next one, start hoarding metals. For gold you can use rings. For silver you can use rings or earrings. That's a lot more common than gold. Copper, wire, lead. I found the lead laying in the street because some roofers had done some lead work on the roof. And when they took the scaffold away, I found these little bits of lead and they were ideal. So I took them. But we'll get to that in the next video. Argan oil, emotional filter. It will help. It's a hard one to explain, but it's like it takes out of your emotions what it is that's blocking your emotions from just going. By emotions I mean the painful, upsetting, hurtful, bad emotions. So this is an emotional filter. It's very subtle, very powerful, and it will work in a lot of other ways as well, especially when combining with lighter oils such as the almond oil and jojoba oil. They work and combine very nicely together. Okay, what else can I tell you? Now, I was working on a friend the other day, and she had a box of oils that she used to do massage with, and I mean this was fascinating. We were looking at this, and I was looking at the oils, and the way I do it is I just look at them and see which ones I'm drawn to. And the ones I was drawn to for her were fennel and peppermint. So I got the cotton wool and I put in a couple of drops of almond, a couple of drops of jojoba, that's the orange, jojoba oil, a couple of drops of argan oil, and a couple of drops of fennel and peppermint. Place them on the insides of the arms as usual. Now, as we were talking, it came out that she suffers with high blood pressure, which I didn't know about. And that was quite interesting. And as I was watching the oil working on her, I could see it was like that part of her arm was like on fire. Where the cotton wool was, it was like fire. And what it seemed was that the fire was being brought out of her body. I mean, this is probably very symbolic because the way our minds see things The mind sees something, it interprets it and presents it to us in a way that we can accept or understand or relate to. So that's how it was presented to me, that's how my mind presented it. My perception saw it, my mind interpreted it, and it looked like fire. And it seemed to me afterwards that this fire was being calmed down or cooled down. And I think this was helping her blood pressure. I think this was the way the mind was interpreting blood pressure. Now whether heat's involved, I don't know. And as I said at the beginning, I'm not a doctor to talk about such things. I wouldn't want to, it wouldn't be right. I haven't trained in that way, so it's not for me to say. But if you've got high blood pressure and you want to give it a try, great. It's another, what do they say, another string to the bow. Leave it on. Mostly the oils stay on for about 10 hours. I put them on in the morning, say to somebody, just leave them on all day. And then that does its job. And then when I go back a week later, I do it again, different oils, different types. And I tell them to leave it on all day. Now, oh yeah, what I've also found is my method of working. Although I'm setting this method up as number 3, that is the method. But in the actual technique, the way it will develop when you start using these things, it's fine just to work through the method, but from my point of view I can adapt things, I can change it and use it out of order if I want. So if you're not experienced, don't get the wrong idea, and you want to use my methods, just start at number 1 and work your way through. You know, there's a lot to be said for determination. This is, you look at me, 20 years. You know, I'm not the brightest, sharpest knife in the box, but I keep going, and there's a lot to be said for that. So what I'm finding is that I tend to adapt the methods. Now, when people are suffering from long-term illnesses, debilitating chronic conditions, they're usually worn out. They're usually just, they've got no energy at all. They're knackered. So the oil is great for recovering energy. It puts energy into people and they feel much better, much stronger, much fitter right from the start. So what I'm tending to do is I use method 1 straight away. Method 1, the extraction, the liquid tabs and the batteries and the carbon, I always use straight away. Always. First thing I do, sit down, get the stuff ready to put on. So that goes on the inside of the forearms and the wrists and the ankles, and then you can start loading them up with cotton wool with oil. You'll have to work round the liquid tabs as in method 1, step 1. You'll have to put them higher or lower, work round it. You might put some on the legs, on the outside edge of the legs. But this gives people energy right from the start. So what I'm probably going to do is do some videos, videoing actual healing sessions, and you can get a look at how the methods are used in actual practice, which will be quite interesting. There's nothing wrong just doing them 1, 2, 3, 4 and onwards. It might even be a better way. But for people who are developing their techniques, it might be of interest to see how I work. I actually work the technique as opposed to the method. Okay, what else? I've added to step 2, I've added vitamin E. I've put that in, which is quite nice. And I've also added, I can never pronounce this, echinacea. That's the box anyway. Now I don't use this stuff with oil, but I do use it with what I think of as the solids, which is step 2. So this is something, these tablets you can just put in with the materials for with the solids. So if I get a chance to do a video on step 2 I will, but that's echinacea. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm going to keep updating this video as I learn more about the oils. I'll put more on. It should only be seen as guidance, in the sense that I can't tell you everything about these oils. As I was saying, my friend, she used to use these massage oils, and she's got a box full of them. Now when you consider that you can get an oil from virtually anything, you can use it for all kinds of conditions, you can mix them, combine them, try all kinds of things, and then at some point you can also start step 4, for instance, combines oils, metals, and uses the power of the batteries. So the combination's just going to go on and on. Now I could just say, well, I won't put anything on video until I've sussed it all out, which will be like in about 20 years time. But rather than, that's assuming I'm here in 20 years time and nothing happens to me. But if anything happens to me before I've explained all this, it's lost. So my idea is to create this video archive where it's updated. As I learn more, I can add more. But don't feel it's finished. It isn't finished. In fact, it is a very nice thing to bequeath, to pass on. It's like an inheritance, a bequeathment, is that the word? Where it's for future generations. I'm never going to work all this out, and frankly, don't feel sorry for me that in years to come you'll find stuff and think, oh well, he missed that, he didn't know about that. I didn't. But I'm pioneering. The joy for me is in the pioneering. Step 4, step 5, step 6, on and on and on. And then the joy for you will be working it all out. It is something for all of us. So don't feel in future times when I'm not here anymore, I missed out. I know full well what I'm doing. I know that I have to keep going on. I have to pioneer the methods. So once the methods are pioneered, everyone else with maybe more nimble minds, more time than me, more ability than me, can figure it all out, can work out all the combinations, can sit and watch and study and learn and try, and that's the joy of it. It really is the joy of it. But that's the decision I've made. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to update it, I'll share the knowledge, I'll do whatever I can, but I have to keep pushing forwards, not sideways. I think the sideways stuff is for other people. Right, what else am I using? Well, sea kelp has come in, which is a suggestion from a person I'm working on. And now this is something very, very interesting. Activated charcoal capsules. And this stuff I think will help an awful lot of people with an awful lot of conditions or an awful lot of bad illnesses. That will come in on step 4, activated charcoal. What it does is it absorbs the toxins from the body, absorbs the poison. Yeah, the toxins. It's an absorber. I started using it on step 1. I started using the charcoal filters, and I wondered at the time if there was more to it than that. And now I'm on activated charcoal, which is, I've used it for the first time yesterday. And it's excellent. The future looks amazingly bright. I cannot tell you how I feel about all this. It is just incredible, you know. Healing using these methods is like love and chess. It has the power to make people happy. And that is a big bonus, you know. That is a huge bonus for the person who's doing it. Okay, I've come to the end of this video, so if you've got to the end of this, thank you very much. Well done. Thank you for your patience and your endurance. And I'll see you on the next one, which I'm researching more on cancer, to be honest. I'm getting ready to perhaps do a method just for cancer, because people with cancer are short on time. They haven't got the time to work through all the methods. So because I'm now talking about it, I probably will do it to use the methods that I think will work on cancer or help people with cancer. And it will involve the activated charcoal and lead and oil and batteries. But that is a story for another video, and once more I thank you for watching this, and it's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Cheerio.